Welcome to, I haven't done this in a while. We haven't had another content creator on Ben's Big Deal for some time. And I'm so happy to have April join us today. Always an adventure with April. Folks, if you haven't already, you go and check out her IG account. She has some fantastic footage. I mean, her and her daughter, they just have a great account going over there. What is your daughter's name, by the way, April?
Her name is Callie.
Callie. And Callie?
Yeah.
That's my wife's nickname. My wife's Carla, and she goes by Callie as well.
Oh,
How long have you been? First of all, how long has she been on the road or traveling with you now? Is it like since she was little, or has it just been recently that that's happened?
we took our first trip when she was 2. We went to Jamaica.
Wow, 2 years old. So this is
Yeah.
like normal life for her, just being on a plane.
Yeah, it's gotten a little bit more intense as we go along, but
Lately,
her
right?
first trip was at 2.
Her first trip is at 2. I remember taking my daughter, the first trip she went. I don't know what I was thinking. I took her to Israel on her first trip. It was like 13 hours. Like the first trip ever. And I think she was like 13 months. And I remember she's looking up to the sky, like she's looking inside the plane. She was enthralled for the first 10 hours. She's like, where are we? She's just like amazing. And on the return, that's when she decided she's going to cry the whole time.
Yeah, traveling with kids, it's like hit or miss. You just never know what's going to go on.
Yeah. I'm the dad who's like literally like this. I have to do like this the whole time, so I don't bother every other passenger on the plane. So, all right, let's get started a little bit. Okay, let's start off with this, April. April, tell us your Points and Miles trial. How did you get introduced to Points and Miles? Was this something that you've been doing for a long, long time, or did something light bulb moment come up? Like how did you get started?
So, funny story, I was scrolling on TikTok like anybody else does. TikTok is like, I love TikTok. And this was probably a year and a half ago. And I came across several profiles. Yours was one of them. I also saw like Travel Hacking Mom. It was mainly Travel Hacking Mom. And then I saw your profile when I was like getting into like Hilton and that reward system. And I really just like the light bulb just clicked immediately. I've always loved traveling, but it can be expensive if you don't know how to do it right. And I just like heard travel for nearly free, and I just like went down a rabbit hole after that. And I just got into the rewards programs, and basically it just went off from there.
Now, do you have any background in finance? Do you have any background in money management or any of that stuff? Because sometimes people feel like, I'm not good with numbers, I'm not good with all that stuff and the points. Did you have any background like that, or how did you kind of overcome some of those challenges that new people have?
So I don't have any background in finance. I basically just followed the blueprint of what I saw, like managing your expenses with the sign up bonus. I had already calculated my expenses. I knew that I would easily hit the sign up bonus with my monthly expenses. So that wasn't a challenge for me. And then just knowing about, credit cards and paying off your card in full at the statement balance to not carry a balance. And that's just, how I went about doing it. So I know that there are people who do struggle with that. That wasn't a struggle for me. And I live in the Chicago area, so my expenses are relatively high. I know that some people that, don't have high expenses, they do struggle with figuring out like how to meet sign-up bonuses and things like that. But my expenses are pretty high, so it was really easy for me to meet the sign-up bonuses.
New people sometimes forget that. Like they need to meet the minimum spend. The points don't just come in because you apply and get approved for the card. I mean, there's a few cards that have a very low spend, but generally speaking, we're talking a few $1,000s. But you get 3 months to do it. The new Blue Bank Ink card, they came up with something interesting. They decided to break it up. Instead of doing 3 months, they staggered it in 2 tiers. Now they're giving you 6 months now to do the ink. I mean, do you think that's more achievable for people too? Be able to do 6 months versus 3? Is that an issue?
Most definitely. I also found just with like, sharing how to earn points and miles to travel with my friends and family, a lot of people underestimate what their actual expenses are. And, I'm a renter. A lot of people I know are renters. And if you are a renter, it's super easy to hit sign up bonuses. Because especially if your rent is over, $1,000 a month, most sign up bonuses are between, $3,000 to $4,000. So there's a lot of ways to take advantage of that.
What are some of the more popular things that you do that help you meet that sign up? And how often do you usually apply for a new card?
So I was very strategic with how I went about my sign up bonuses. So last year, I was a maid of honor at my best friend's wedding. So I planned the bachelorette and I was able to take advantage of two sign up bonuses with Amex because the bachelorette was so expensive. So I was able to use those expenses to earn points for free travel. And I do things like that. Like I think about things that are coming up, like trips, school expenses, car repairs, things like that. And then I just kind of figure out when the time it is going to be. And then I know that I can apply for a new card. And I would say I apply for a new card every 2 to 3 months or so.
Do you have a particular points program that you enjoy earning more because you use it more often than others?
So I'll say that I have two now. Amex is definitely my favorite. But American Airlines is like a close second. And I'll say this, transferable points are important to have. But I have flown Qatar Airways and AA has the craziest redemptions for Qatar Airways that I've ever seen. And I'm just kind of addicted with flying them now. So I am like trying to get the AA miles so that I could keep flying those routes with Qatar Airways. But Amex is my favorite for transferable points.
So from the AA side, the American side, use your AA miles, not for AA, but to fly them on Qatar, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. So I don't use AA points to fly domestic flights. I use them for their partners in the One World Alliance. So I guess I am using them for transferable points. Yeah.
I mean, because American doesn't transfer to from any transferable program, which makes it harder to accumulate. But if you accumulate the AA, you can get those great redemptions there. That's a great tip, by the way, April. You said you use Amex a lot. You like to earn them. What do you use them for? What kind of redemptions have you done with those Amex points?
I've done a ton. So I wait for transfer opportunities. So when the banks have transfer bonuses, Amex has pretty good transfer bonuses to Flying Blue. I've transferred to them to book business class flights to Italy. I've used British Airways. My mom and I are going to Zanzibar in June. So I used Amex points to transfer. I believe it was a 25% transfer bonus to British Airways. So I got a good deal on business class. I booked Qatar Airways through British Airways. So I got a good deal for that. And we recently just got back from the Maldives. I transferred some Amex points to Hilton because they had a transfer bonus to Hilton for 35% bonus. That's so awesome. I booked our hotel through Hilton with the transfer bonus.
So have you done a lot? You mentioned Hilton. So I heard you just came back from a trip from the Hilton. Which property was this?
The Hilton Amangiri in the Maldives.
Wow, that's not too. Most people haven't heard of. I mean, we hear about the Conrad, we hear about the Waldorf. Where does Amangiri? Where does that kind of fall in? Is that like more higher end? Is that 5-star? Is it equal to the same level?
Yeah, it's the same level as the Conrad. They're all 5-star. The Amangiri, I've seen where the cash price is a little bit higher than the Conrad. It really just depends on the date that you're booking. but it is a newer Hilton hotel in the Maldives. So it's more updated. It is a little closer to the airport. So it's a 30-minute speedboat ride
Wow.
versus having to take the seaplane.
So that saves you a
So
lot of money.
it does. So if you are trying to watch your price and budget for the Maldives, if you book the Hilton Amangiri, the speedboat transfer is only $350 per adult, and it was $150 or $175 for kids, versus the Conrad was $695 for the seaplane per
And
person.
that's a round trip, right? That's a round trip
It's round
cost.
trip, yeah. So
And
it saved us I would say over $700 in transportation costs because we switched. And the price point per night was 110,000 Hilton points versus 120,000 at the Conrad.
yeah, yeah. So the Armangiri, did you have now when we think Maldives, we think overwater bungalow, we think beach. Sometimes does the standard redemption get you into overwater? Or does it get you in the beach? What kind of room does it typically get you?
So since we went, I took my mom and my daughter. So we got into the beach villa. That was with the standard rate. And they allowed us to upgrade to the overwater villa. So I wanted to experience both. So we stayed 3 nights in the beach villa. And then for the overwater villa, there is an upgrade charge. It was only $100 for the upgrade charge.
Oh,
Whereas the Conrad, they quoted me about $700 per night to upgrade from a beach villa to the overwater.
700 a night. So if you're there 3 nights, you're talking like $2,100. I mean, that's
Right.
a lot there for a big price. Um, did you enjoy one more than the other? Did you like the overwater more than the beach, or did you like the beach more?
The overwater, you can't beat it. Like you have to do it if you go. Even if it's for one night, like you have to do it. It's totally worth it.
Is the room in overwater the same size, or is the beach one tend to be a little bit larger from your experience?
I actually felt like the overwater room was bigger.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I actually
And
felt like it was a little bigger.
and did either one of them have like their own pool? Did they have its own pool?
Yes. They both had their own pool. The one in the beach was, like wrapped around the villa with, ocean views in the sand. And then the one over the water, is right outside. And then there's a ladder to go down into the reef if you want to snorkel.
I've noticed a lot of the new properties. When you open a new property in the Maldives, they usually build a brand new island. So there's not a lot of sea life or wildlife or coral. Is that the same in this property, or is it relatively new? How was the snorkeling there?
It was good. There were little baby sharks and fish, around. I would see them a ton, at breakfast or even during like happy hour. We'd just be chilling and see like the little sharks floating by. So it's there.
It's there. And did you have any status? Did you have diamond status? I think you mentioned you had.
Yeah, I have Hilton Diamond status.
Yeah. And how did you achieve that? Can you share?
Yeah, so I did not do it the easy way by getting the Aspire card. I got it by using I have the Hilton business card. So I used it. I got the status through my spend and stays that I had planned throughout the year. So I did a ton of travel last year. I went to London, Paris. We went to Italy, Greece, and I stayed in Hilton's Spain. So I had several stays with Hilton, and I just used the card. And I ended up hitting diamond status without even noticing, honestly.
You are staying a lot of Hilton properties. Tell us which international properties are some of your favorite Hilton properties that you've stayed at.
If you have not stayed at the Waldorf Hilton Cancun, you are missing out on life. Like it's so good. The rooms, the Waldorf.
Yeah.
Write it down. The Waldorf in Cancun.
Okay.
Hands down, it's amazing. I stayed there. I booked that hotel through Fine Hotel and Resorts through my AMEX Platinum.
Okay.
And it's one of the hotels listed on Fine Hotels and Resorts. So, I got the like $100 property credit, the upgrade, at check-in if it's available with the early check-in, the late checkout, and then the $200 credit. And the hotel was amazing. The concierge, the rooms are huge. There's like a jacuzzi on the balcony. The food was amazing. Like I cannot say enough good things about that hotel. If you haven't checked out the Waldorf Cancun, you definitely should. It's really
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how did you end up deciding on Hilton versus some of the other ones? I mean, I would say that most people out there in the world of points and miles have overlooked Hilton. So what do you like most about Hilton? Is it the property? Has it been the service? Has it been some of the elite benefits, or maybe just earning points is easier? What would be the reason?
So for me, Hilton properties drew my eye more. I have a really close friend. She loves Marriott properties. Like she's a diehard Marriott fan. But and nothing against Marriott, but like when I go and look at certain places that I want to stay, I just never really found a ton of properties that just like caught my eye. And Hilton has some really, really nice properties. And I know people think that, Hilton points, it takes a lot to earn Hilton points, but they have really high multipliers. And I find that it's not that hard to earn them because the multipliers are much, much higher than any of the other, cards that have those point requirements. So like I was earning 12 points per dollar on my stays.
Yeah.
6 times on gas and restaurants. Like it was pretty easy to rack up Hilton points.
Yeah. I mean, you get $1 for everyone listening. It is quite, if you're staying at a Hilton, you can actually earn quite a bit. And if you're using on the card, even better. Because if you're just base points, it's 10x for every dollar spent. And if you're a diamond, I mean, if you're silver, you get 20. If you're gold, you get 80. And if you're diamond, you get 100% bonus. And now you're earning 20x. And if you use the business card, you get another 12x. So now you're at 32. If you have the Aspire, you get 34x. So imagine, everyone, if you're spending it at a hotel at a Hilton and you're a diamond, you're earning 34x points for every single dollar you're spending. So if you spend a thousand or so, I mean, you're walking out there easily. I mean, I know people who walk out, with 30,000 points easily, 45, 50,000 points just staying at an average stay on their vacation. So you're right. It actually is. And then there's a lot of promotion. Is there a current promotion right now for a multiplier with Hilton? I wasn't sure if there is.
They have a stay promotion right now where they're offering bonuses for your stays, I believe through April. But yeah, and then they do have elevated offers right now on their cards. But like you said, it's super easy to earn Hilton points if you're using the card and you have status.
Okay, let's change a little bit. Let's talk about flying. I saw your daughter. She's the cutest, like the best. Like she's a great ambassador for you. Families, how often do you fly in economy versus how often you fly in business, and how do you decide? I mean, do you fly just you and her, just the two of you? Is that typically what?
And my mom, me, and my daughter.
Oh, so there's 3 of you. Okay. When you're flying like that, I mean, I fly with the 3 of us too, my wife and my daughter. So sometimes it's not always easy for me to find business. How do you decide when to use business, and when do you decide, is it just when you're flying Qatar, or how do you decide that?
So I kind of have a 10-hour rule. It really just depends on the vibe, where we're going, and the deal. But let's just be honest, nobody likes to fly economy. Like nobody would choose it if they had to. But if there's a good deal, I'll stick it out. Like, flying blue I live in the Chicago area. There are tickets that are like 15,000 points one way to Europe. That's a good deal. So it's like, I can stick out an 8-hour, 9-hour flight, 10 at the most. But when it goes over that, I need business class. Especially with flying with children. My kid gets really cranky when she doesn't sleep. And it's just better for everyone if we're just well rested when we arrive. So I try to do the long haul trips with business. And I typically just get the best deals on those routes because I book my travel a year out in advance. I know that's not feasible for everybody, but luckily I do have a flexible job where I pretty much, whenever I request my PTO, I get those PTO days off. I don't really have to worry about vacation as long as I'm looking ahead and planning it out. So I always get save receipts. Like I never really book anything that is ridiculously priced. Like any flight that I'm booking, it's always a save receipt. And I just plan around those dates.
So do you usually have a destination and then look for the deal, or let the deal choose your destination?
Both, so to speak. Yeah, I'd say both. I have so many things on my list though. So it's kind of like I'm not going in order on my travel list. So if I see something, I'll just go. Like I found a great deal to Cape Town in January of next year through Qatar Airways. And I just booked it. I had no plans like for Cape Town. I've always wanted to go, but I didn't think about, January. But when I saw the dates open up, I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and book this. So that's kind of how I just go along and plan. And when I see deals, I have the points available, so I could just book.
Everyone that's listening to this right now, this is what we end up doing, which is we have like a laundry list of places that, be interesting to go to. When the deal comes up, okay, the time is there. But I same thing with me. I usually, this is the reason why I have a challenge booking out a year in advance, unless it's something like, oh, I got to get this. Like actually, I booked the other day. I literally found LAX to Sydney, Australia. That's going to leave on the 1st of this month for $65,000 in business or $75,000 in first. I was like, wait, I just found $75,000.
That's like an unheard of deal,
right? I literally found $75,000 in first. I'm going to bed. Wow. It's like 10:30 at night. I'm checking the AA app and I'm looking. Let me just take a look at Australia. I don't know. This is what weird points and miles people do. Like look it up. I'm like, I just found 2 seats. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna book it. So I booked myself and my daughter, and it was incredible. And there was one with like 3 seats in first. April, 3 seats in first for $75,000 each way. Yeah, in first class.
Some people check the news. We check our AA app. But that's my daily read, scanning for available seats.
Yeah, here's one right now. Alaska is changing I just did Alaska class this past week with my group, and we were talking like this summer. There are really good rates still to Costa Rica. So if you've never been to Costa Rica on Alaska miles, you can still get it for $12,500 in economy, but $12,500 per person is incredible. And to go to some great, properties in Costa Rica.
I'm actually working on a sub with Alaska Airlines right now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone just asked, how old is your daughter and is she homeschooled? Somebody asked, I'm not sure if they asked me or they're asking you, but I'll answer mine. My daughter is 11 and I just brought her into homeschool like 3 months ago. So I'm new to it.
My daughter is 9. She'll be 10 in a couple of months, and she is not homeschooled.
Yeah. So how do you deal with the tardy notice or the absent? I'm sick of all these notices from the school, and I try to balance it out, but there's no way for me to do it.
So I justify it because here's the thing. Does she miss school? Absolutely. But her going to Paris and going to the Louvre is more educational than whatever they're doing in the classroom. So I'm like, you know what? She's actually learning about stuff in real life. She's seeing the things that she's learning about in the textbook. We'll catch up when we get back.
I agree.
That's,
and they always do.
Controversial opinion, but
Look, I think if you take any of our kids who travel around the world like they do, they learn so much. Like my daughter the other day, she literally said to me, she's like, my wife brought her some breakfast in the morning. She's like, oh, this is like a welcome amenity. Like, oh, this is great turn down service, Mom.
Oh my gosh, that's so
adults funny. Don't even know what turn down service is,
And my daughter loves it because she's like obsessed with the British family. So when we went to London, she's like, I want to go to Buckingham Palace. Like we have to talk to King Charles. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. But she gets really excited about stuff like that. So,
it's awesome.
but we do stay within the numbers that she can't exceed. So, we don't get truancy charges or anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm like, to me, at some point, I'm just like, the school doesn't care. They're just missing that they're afraid they're not going to hit a number of days that they're not going to get their funding. But like, do you really care for the kids? Look at what they're doing right now. I'm like, are you really? It's funny. I talked to the teacher. The teacher's totally fine with it. So it's just the system since he notices, but it's annoying as heck. And I just decided I'm just gonna I'm actually in a charter school that has a focus on home studies. So she's actually associate school. But I have I'm like her primary teacher, but then I have, we check in every learning period, every 20 days. So it's been great. That's like another thing altogether. It's like another thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So April, when you think about traveling and you're thinking about points and miles, what is the best credit card that you think new people should consider getting when they first get started in points and miles?
I have
three. Yeah, go ahead.
I have three, I would say, if you're new. Depends on how you're starting, because I had to start out on the AMEX side because I was over 524.
Can we stop for a second? I think that's a really important point. Some people, they can't get into the Blue Bank, and so they got to go down the other route. Can you share, before we get into your card recommendations, what card did you decide? Like, if you go, I'm out of Blue Bank, I got to start at Amex, where did you start?
I started, actually, I got the Capital One Venture back in 2016, way, way, way before I even knew about traveling with points and miles. And honestly, I think it just started around that time, if I'm not mistaken. But I got the Capital One Venture. I hit the bonus, and I did what most people do. I think the bonus was 40,000 points for 4K spin. I got the 40,000 points, and I was going to Vegas. So I went to the travel portal and I redeemed my 40,000 points for a $400 ticket in the travel portal. So that's really been my only, mistake that I've made. And fast forward to 2022, I guess, when I started really getting into it, I had the Capital One, so I already kind of had a feel for how to earn points. But I feel like if you're new and you're getting started, that's a really good card to get started with. They have two, the Venture X and then the Venture. That card's super easy just because you earn 2X on everything. You don't have to think about how many points you're earning. So I think for beginners, if you just want something that you don't have to think about, I think that that's a good card. If you're a traveler, I think the Venture X, if you travel multiple times a year, I think the Venture X is good, especially because of, the travel credit and the lounge access.
Have you been to their lounge yet? Their Capital One lounge?
I have not. They have it in Dallas.
Yes.
The last time I was in Dallas, I ended up going to the AA lounge instead of the Capital One lounge. But I'm actually going to Dallas in a couple of days, so I may have time to check it out. But I heard it's really good.
Here's what I like about it, and here's where I think the Capital One lounge is better than the Centurion lounge. Here's what I think. First of all, are they going to be crowded? Yes. Anything that's good is going to end up getting crowded. So I've been hearing lately that it's been getting more crowded lately. And so they don't have the space that the Centurion lounge does, or the AA lounge has. But here's where I think they do a really good job. They understand the world of a traveler. They understand that sometimes we can't sit down and have a nice meal, and because we got to get to connecting to our next flight. So they have this grab and go area, April, which is nice. And it's packaged. You don't have, my wife sometimes, she brings in Ziploc bags. Because they don't feed you on the plane sometimes. I'm not always seeing business class, right?
My mom was smuggling fruit at the breakfast in the Maldives. Stuffing fruit in the bag. We're going to need it later.
Yeah, so you don't need to worry about that when you go Capital One. They get it. They get it. So they have packaged egg salad sandwich, chicken salad sandwich,
Yeah.
yogurt parfait. They got like boxed water. They got like all that stuff ready for you. They got salad if you want. They got quinoa if you want. And then they have the bag they even have a bag, like a paper bag for you too, to put everything in. Then they're like, dude, you like to have some cookies? Here, like wrap with the cellophane clear, and it looks all it looks like you walked out of a store and you bought it. Like that's how nice it is. I love that. In addition to having the bar, in addition to having the great food, I love that about them, and I hope that doesn't change.
Yeah, I see a comment about the venture card no longer having access. I did hear about that. It'll just be the Venture X card. So I'll definitely have to check out the lounge before that changes. Because I don't have the Venture X. I could upgrade to it, but I don't want to miss out on getting a sign-up bonus. So I'm just gonna wait until I can actually get the Venture X card.
Yeah, I mean, those both cards are great. Have you heard about the new Wells Fargo card? Are you?
No, I don't know about it.
So Wells Fargo decided they're going to join the points game now.
Oh wow!
They just launched. They just launched it. They just launched it like last week, so it's brand new. It's called the Autograph Journey. So they have an autograph card and they have Autograph Journey. So the Journey card is $95, and here's what they did. They took a look at the Blue Banks, preferred, and then they looked at the City Premier, and they kind of put the two together. So here's the first one: 5x on hotels right off the bat. We're gonna give 5x on hotels. Okay. 4x for travel. 4x for airfare, because 5x for hotel, 4x for airfare. And then 3x for dining, which is like others. But the 4x reminds me of the Amex Gold. The 5x kind of reminds me of like, hotels, but they went in a different direction because the Amex Platinum is 5x for flights. We're going to do 5x for hotels. So 5x for hotels, 4x for flights, 3x for dining, 1x for everything else. And then we're going to give you a $50 credit when you book an airline. So you know how the Blue Bank Preferred gives you 50 on a hotel? They're going to give you 50 on an airline.
Okay. What's the sum?
5,000 spent in 3 months. I think stuff like that.
For how many points?
Yeah, I mean it's not a high sub, but the sign up bonus is like 60,000 points is what I believe. 60,000. Okay. It's a decent.
And they have the same transfer partners.
That's new. Okay, I mean, everyone else has a head start, on them. So they're starting off. They're like, we got 5. We got like 5.
Oh, okay.
Hotels, they got 1. Got 1 hotel. They got 5. So that's new. So the hotel they have is Choice Hotels, which Amex has, which Capital One has, which Citi has. So they joined Choice. But Choice is actually really interesting. So much interesting that I'm deciding I'm going to do on my mentorship on Thursday. I'm going to do a whole thing on Choice Hotels this Thursday, by the way. So folks, if you're not in the mentorship, come see me on Thursday. I'm going to run a class on my Zoom class for that. So that's going to be on Choice. From the airline perspective, they have Life Miles, which is right now getting a bonus right now. But they have Life Miles. They have Air France, Flying Blue. They have the Avioses like Aer Lingus. They have British Airways, and then they have Iberia.
So that makes it worth it then. If you just want, like, if you just want to go on a Europe trip or something, you could just get the sub.
They're in the game. I don't think they're done. I mean, they're just starting, So I will think like they'll do what the Built card does in the next few months. They'll add on. Okay. I mean, Built is like up to like 15 now. I think they're up pretty high, and they just started like 2 years ago. So I think you'll see the same thing with Wells Fargo.
But Flying Blue, Life Miles, and British Airways, those are solid transfer partners. So, yeah, I
can't complain there. So not bad at all. So, and the Choice is 1 to 2. They do the same thing with Citi, so they're doing 1 to 2. So I think they're really looking at Citi as their model, as opposed to like that. Like we're just trying to get in the game. We're not ready for Blue Bank or Amex yet, but we want to go after Citi and see if we can compete in that space. So I think they're gonna do okay there. So it'll be good to see how they grow. But that's coming out soon. And before we wrap up, I think we're getting close to time here. April, is there when people think about booking business class and things like that, what are some of the struggles that you think most people need to consider? And I almost forgot. We got to go back and ask you, what are your top 3 cards you think people should go get?
Okay, so I said for beginners or just in general?
Maybe let's just say the beginners right now.
Okay. Capital One, you could just group the Venture and the Venture X together. That'll be one. 2, I'll say the AMEX Gold. I think everybody needs the AMEX Gold simply because the 4-time multiplier on food in grocery stores, I think that's really good. And also, if you have the AMEX Gold, you can unlock earning the points on Rakuten by using the shopping portal. Mm-hmm. And I've earned, I'll say hundreds of thousands of points at this point. I've earned a lot of points on Rakuten, just using Rakuten for my everyday shopping. If you link your Amex to it, you'll earn a ton of points that way. And then the last one I would say is the blue card with Blue Bank. So
the preferred, the $95 one.
Yeah, the starter card. I would say that one just so because you have access to Hyatt hotels. I have found some really good redemptions with Hyatt, especially if you like all inclusives. I'm actually eyeing one of the Secrets properties in Isla Mujeres.
Oh, that's going to be great. The Impressions one or the Impressions one?
I think it's just Secrets, Isla Mujeres. They have a ton of all inclusives on there, but it's the Secrets one. So yeah, I think that would be a good card to add.
And folks, if you are looking to go Hyatt, some of the properties are going up. The popular ones are going up, and today's the last day to book, so they are moving them up for next year. So you can book out a whole year in advance if folks have to. And for one thing, a lot of people don't even know if you're a globalist. If any of you got globalist via the Build Challenge last year, they have something called points advance, which means you can actually make a booking for the future for yourself, even if you don't have the points in there. It's an unpublished benefit, but it is a actual benefit. So you can actually book reservations. And as long as you have the points in there, like 2 weeks before you're going to stay, you're totally good. All right. Let's go to some of the questions. Do we have any questions here? I think I saw one that asked me, what is better than the Wells Fargo or the Venture X? Those are 2 different cards altogether. But the Venture X, I think my answer to it is they're both good cards. The Venture X offers lounge access. It offers great for a family card. I think it's the best family card out there, pound for pound, because they give you 4 authorized users. You can be able to get them a priority pass. They'll be able to have Presence Club Circle for the rental car as well, which allows you to status match. It earns 2x on everything, so you don't have to worry about multipliers and things like that. So I think it's a really good overall card, great card, especially if a lounge near your airport, you're going to travel and use it. I think it's great. And the Wells Fargo, I think it's not my first card I would probably recommend people go get, but if you are looking for more points and diversification, I think ultimately you want to diversify. Like, you don't want to just be long-term only in the Blue Bank or only in Amex. Having some diversity in points will help because, you can be able to make up, because especially some of the bank rules, some of the banks, once you hit a limit, like Capital One, so you can only have 2 personal cards, 1 business card, things like that. Amex has, you can only get a platinum. You only get a platinum if you got a gold first. If you got a platinum first, you can't get a gold. So they got all these rules now. So eventually you're going to have to divvy out from your maybe main core program and just make sure you have a good diversity there. Do you have a preference between the mid-tier cards? That mid-tier area, where between the Blue Bank Preferred, the Premier, the Gold, that's a really competitive market. Do you have a favorite one that you use a lot, April?
Right now I've been using my AA card. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Wanna get
I've
the
been using
status,
my
or you
AA
did for the
card
miles?
'cause I'm going for my goal this year was to go for executive platinum status.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you
I've been
top
yeah, I've been
tier,
going
top tier.
yeah, because you get one world sapphire if you get to platinum pro,
No, you got
which
emerald. That gets emerald already.
I mean one world emerald, you're right. I'll get emerald if I get the executive platinum status. And like
They're
I
both the
told you,
same, by
the
the way.
value is with their transfer partners, not domestic AA flights. So
You only really need Platinum Pro unless you want to get a first class upgrade domestically. Then I would go for Executive Platinum.
I think I'm just really going for executive platinum just to say that I'm executive platinum.
Then
And if you get
then do
175,000 loyalty points, you get the system wide upgrade. So I'm kind of like, if you're 25,000 points from it, it's kind of like, you know.
I hear you. I hear you. I've been Executive Platinum since 2015. This year is the first year I've dropped the Platinum Pro. So I totally hear you. I get it. I get it completely. I don't want to lose my status either. Do you, by the way, would you choose American flight over a more expensive? I'm sorry. Would you choose an American flight over a less expensive United flight then when you have status?
Yeah, I would choose American. I know a lot of people have had issues with American. I have a friend that literally every time she flies American, her bag gets lost or she's in like a broken seat or it's always something. But I'm just loyal to them. They have the best alliance. With and this is just my opinion, but they have the best alliance to me, especially if you are an international traveler, like Japan Airlines, and like they just have really, really good redemptions internationally. And United, in my opinion, with their pricing chart, it's just not a great value.
Okay.
So I would choose American
have you ever
because
considered have you ever considered then Delta? Because I know a lot of people in this world, but I'm gonna just tell you, I got a lot of my Atlanta people who like swear to death about a Delta. I'm just curious. What's your
I
impression of
could care
Delta?
less about Delta. I think that their reward system is ridiculous. It's so hard to like their points are worth like if there's something like less than a penny, like their points are like they call them sky pesos, right? Like you can't really do much with Delta miles. And then with all the changes that they did, it doesn't really like help the consumer, you know. So I really could care less about Delta. I have maybe flown them like once in the past 5 years. And I'm not at a Delta hub. So.
Where is your hub? Are you at a? I'm assuming you're at
I'm in
a.
Chicago.
Oh, you're in Chicago, so
I'm
you're
in Chicago,
United as
so
well.
it's either United or American.
Yep. Yeah. I've flown through ORD many times. I used to work for a company out in Dearborn.
Okay.
So yeah, it was like northern Chicago. It's almost is it Deer? It's near Vernon Hills.
Northbrook?
No, near
Lincoln?
Northbrook. It was near Deerfield.
Deerfield.
It was a small little town. It's like
Okay.
industrial town. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I never worked actually in Chicago. I realized not too many people all in Chicago. Like my friend lived in Algonquin. The other one lived in Naperville. The other one lived in Aurora. I'm like driving all around the like Chicago. And then it took me an hour to get anywhere when I'm in Chicago. Like it takes me an hour everywhere. They're always doing construction. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I think there are a couple more questions. Let's just check that out here. Someone said they tried the venture card since September. They have 120,000 points and redeemed it and paid for 2 flights to Jamaica. I don't know how they redeemed it, but okay, congrats. How do you use all these cards simultaneously and get so many points? You want to take that one? How do you use all these cards simultaneously?
I'm assuming they're asking like how I manage all the cards. So that's a good question. I don't use all my cards at the same time. So it really just depends on what my travel goals are and what I'm trying to do. So like I said earlier, I've been mainly just using probably right now like 1 to 2 cards. I'm mainly using my American Airlines card because, I'm trying to get miles for flights through their partners. And I just stayed at a Hilton a couple days ago, so I went and, used my Hilton card because I was staying at a Hilton. So it really just depends on what I'm doing. And I pick my card based off of like my kind of short-term travel goals. Like after I hit my spend, I'll reevaluate what I want to do.
I've heard a lot of people, by the way, April, they're loving you. Mm-hmm. They're all saying, what is her Instagram? How do I? First of all, her Instagram is like right in under her name. If you guys see it, I know it's a little long, but it says always an adventure with April. That's like, if you go above my name, there should be like a drop down right above our title, and you could drop down, and then you should be able to see, like if you go to the live, everybody look up to the live, and there's an arrow, drop down arrow. If you touch that drop down arrow, there should pop up. She's maybe 3 down. I think I may have to show you up there on. Let me see here. How do I bring you up here on this thing? I'm gonna put it on there again. I can't. But anyway, folks, you could find always an attract. By the way, before we wrap up, I know everybody, April, if people want to get in touch with you, or they want to learn more about what you do, and they want to get your advice or book some time with you, what would be the best way for them to do
that? Well, you can follow me at alwaysanadventurewithapril.com. And I also, in my link in my bio, I have an ebook. I created an ebook and released it back in October. Pretty much just going over like how I do this, my personal strategy, and how I maximize on every dollar I spend so that I could travel the way that I do. So if you're interested in learning about that, the ebook is in my bio. It's really thorough. It's over 90 pages with examples, practice examples for you to practice, like building up your searches so you could get awesome save receipt redemptions too. So if you want to check it out, it's in my bio.
That's fantastic. Is there any final things you want to share, April, before we wrap up?
No. Thanks for having this talk with me. This was fun. It's not often I get to talk with people that are just as like points and miles crazy as I am. My friends and mom think I'm like crazy. I'll call her in like the middle of the day and I'm like, I just found a redemption. And she's like, I'm at work. And I'm just like, but it's important. I just found like a redemption for us to go somewhere.
Don't call me later saying you want to go. I'm like, it's gone. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally know. Some people say, oh, is your wife as crazy? I said, there's only room for one crazy person in this household. They're not.
I've found that people that travel on points and miles, it's a person that's like super into it, and then there's just a player too who just helps meet the spend.
Who goes along? Yeah. Let them use their social security number to apply for credit cards. And go, okay, yeah, as long as you get me on a business class. And I'm like, do you know what it takes to get a business class seat for all of us, all 4 of us? It's like, we get excited. Like the day when you book 3 people in business, like your day is made. You're like walking on air because you're able to do that. So
for sure.
Anyway, I want to thank you so much, April, for joining us. Folks, go give Always an Adventure with April a follow. If like I said, if you drop down that drop down, and you should see her. She's like maybe like about 4 or 5, maybe 10 down. Anyway, she's down in that list here, folks. So you can see her when you click on that drop down area. You should be able to add her to her follow. Go get her ebook for sure. She travels with her daughter, her mom. So if you're a family traveler, definitely go check her out and go learn from April over here. Thank you again, April, for joining us again. I look forward to your continued success. Feel free, please reach out if there's anything I can do for you.
Thank you, Ben.
Have a good day.
You too.